So it gives us an indication, not an indication, it tells us absolute truth of who's in control from that point.
Welcome back to Master in 5. Today is going to be a great topic. I have the king of technical analysis, Brian Shannon. If you don't know who Brian Shannon is, you need to go watch previous episode I did with him, or go check out his book, which I'm gonna have a link down below which you can check out as well. But Brian Shannon, thanks for being here, brother. I really appreciate it because I really want to give you some time to dive in what you're really known for, and that's VWAP. So welcome to the show, bro.
Right on. The
Absolutely.
king, huh?
Yeah, dude.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, king of
Wow,
technical
okay.
analysis. And I mean that. I know I'm blowing up you, but yeah, I love what you have to say about technical analysis. I've read your book. I really like it. I recommend it to a lot of people. So about VWAP, if you can just explain, like, why is VWAP so important?
Volume weighted average price, right? So
Yep.
we know what it is, and a lot of people see it on their daily chart. The anchored volume weighted average price is when you start it from a different point. What it does is it just tells us, here's the average price that the stock transacted at, adjusted for volume, so the true average from any point. It's cumulative from that point. So if we have an important low 3 days ago that we can measure against, we'll put a volume weighted average price anchored to that. And you'll see a lot of times it comes up and is defended and holds as support or as resistance. So we see that on earnings reports. We can see it on important highs and swing highs and lows, CPI, Fed, whatever. It's the truth. It's really the ultimate sentiment indicator. It tells us factually who's in control, buyers or sellers. It's not opaque at all. It's not an opinion.
Yep.
It's not people lying about what they're doing. It's the truth in price. So it gives us that reference point to set our trade around and say, here's the basis of my trade. It's bouncing from that VWAP. Now I know that the buyers have defended it. The short sellers are losing money. I'm going to buy as it bounces away from there with my stop under that recent low. It allows us to use, it's really similar to a moving average, simple moving average, but it's more sophisticated. It's not a random time-based indicator. It's an actual price-based truth from a point.
So I'm very curious. So when you say, I don't use VWAP right now, but when you say anchored VWAP, that's separate from just the standard VWAP that pops up on, like, say, DAS charts. Is that
right.
separate?
So you'll be looking at a daily chart for
Okay.
1 day, and that's your VWAP for the day.
Okay.
And that's the way it was, originally came. It was for 1 day. The anchored VWAP, it's the same calculation, just a different starting point. You can even use it, on day trading. Let's say you start your normal VWAP at 9:30. 10:38, it sold off, made an important low, and you see it bouncing away from there. Similar thing. You can anchor a VWAP to that low.
Yeah.
And it will measure it cumulative from that point forward. So from that low, the buyers are in control as long as it's above that and rising. The average short from that point who's trying to fade that is losing money. So it gives us an indication, not an indication, it tells us absolute truth of who's in control from that point.
Is that like anchored VWAP? Like, you can set that at any point wherever you want to do as the trader?
Anywhere you want. So daily chart, monthly chart, 1 minute chart, 15-minute time frame, it doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of all technical analysis, is it's fractal. What you learn on one time frame is applicable to every other time frame as well. It just depends on how you want to trade it, what your personal time frame is.
But I'm very curious, like, when someone's going to be watching this and be like, okay, anchored VWAP, like, do you only use VWAP as, like, your main, like, source of, like, planning? You plan all around that, or are you also looking at other things as well?
To me, it's all, I try to keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
I don't know whose phrase it is, but simplicity is the market's ultimate disguise. And that we tend to complicate things. So there's, and here's what the volume weighted average price is. It's price, which is the only truth there is, right? It's whether we're right or wrong. Volume gives us the emotional intensity of who's in control. We'll look at it from volume surges and that sort of thing. And that's a little subjective, the analysis. I mean, there's real things we can see there, and it's all subjective, I should say. I mean, it's analysis.
Sure, yeah.
It's not. And then time. What's your time frame? So the volume weighted average price integrates those three things together to create this line to measure risk against, basically, is what we're trying to do.
Hey, we wouldn't be able to do these face-to-face interviews if it wasn't for our sponsor, Cobra Trading. So if you can just give them a few seconds of your time, we'd really appreciate it. Cobra Trading is the go-to broker for day traders and short sellers. And I'm not the only one saying this. In fact, Benzinga awarded Cobra Trading as the go-to broker for short selling. They have a heavy focus on direct market access order routing, so you have the fastest execution. They have some of the best locate prices and availability. They also have amazing customer service. I've experienced many different brokers, and it's why I use them every single day and why I'm proud to have them as our sponsor. Sign up now by clicking the Be the Trader referral link below and earn 1 free month of software with Cobra and 25% off all commissions. Now let's get back to the show. But VWAP at the open, let's say if you're a day trader and you're using, let's say not anchored, right? And you're just using the VWAP at the open, is it not as reliable because let's say pre-market there was only like 50,000 shares traded, and then the open happens and there's like, you know, we get a rush of volume. Sure, we might get like maybe 100 to 200,000 shares in the first minute. Like, is VWAP reliable in that short window? Because I know I hear opinions of people saying, you know, VWAP is not really reliable in the first 5 minutes. It's more reliable after an hour. Like, what's your opinion on that?
No, that's a great point. So in the same regard, on a daily time frame, when you see a stock that gapped up on earnings,
yes,
and you want to anchor to that and say, what's the sentiment from that event? And the event is the beginning of the day. The event is an earnings report or whatever it is you're measuring. Generally, the first, you know, I guess 3 to 8 bars, I kind of let them settle in a little bit. But you'll see, you know, some days you'll see in that first 8 minutes, it's crossing back and forth above and below it. It doesn't provide any value. It's saying we have mixed messages here. The market is trying to find this equilibrium. It hasn't found it yet. But when it breaks out of that range, out of that battlefield, and it starts to trend either up or down, and then we see that volume weighted average price curve lower if it breaks to the downside,
yes,
we can start to measure risk against that. You'll see that, you know, it sells off real quick from there because those first 10-minute buyers all puke at once.
Right.
And then as it rallies back up towards it, maybe 12 minutes later, you'll start to see people will start to, you know, position around that VWAP. And then if it holds as resistance, then I want to short as it starts to break lower from it. I don't want to short the test because I don't trust it, right? Because it might just continue higher. Then where do I set my stop? So if it starts to break back down, roll over, then I'll set my stop above that little high. And here we're talking maybe a 1 minute chart, but it's also on a daily time frame from an earnings report 3 months ago, or you know, maybe not 3 months ago, 2-3 weeks ago.
Understand. And one thing before we start to wrap this up, I'm just curious because VWAP can sometimes not be anywhere near a technical level unless VWAP is the technical for you, but like it might not be near a key like support or key resistance. Does that weigh in your decision making at all if it's not near a key level and it's just VWAP there?
Well, anytime we have a confluence of indicators, then we have a little bit more confidence in what we're doing. Because the reason you have confidence is because we know that more people are coming to the same decision in the same area. Right. Maybe because it's at a 50-day moving average, and it's also at the VWAP from the earnings. So the people who are just looking at VWAP might be saying, hey, I'm going to start to buy or stop shorting. The same decisions are being made based around that 50-day moving average. So when they come together, it gives me a little bit of extra confidence, I guess. When I see, though, that the volume-weighted average price from the CPI acts as resistance, and there's no moving average, there's nothing else there. It's just, here's an event that shook the confidence of the market. That caused change in rapid reassessment of value in the market. That was an important event. When I see that act as resistance and there's nothing else there, it gives me more confidence that, yeah, this is what the big money is doing. They are selling against that average price. They're saying, from that event, we decided we're going to liquidate X% and we're going to sell as best we can, close to that volume-weighted average price as we can. So it's going to most likely become resistance. So I love it for that. It just says, this is truth. This is what people are doing. And it's so cool to see how often it'll become the exact tick that where the market turns. And that's cool. Like when you feel like you've kind of figured something out.
Absolutely. There's so many questions that just came to my mind, but I don't want to just bombard you with all these questions right now. So I definitely want to bring you out. I definitely want to do this again.
Right on.
But for all those who are watching this right now, you're going to have to rewind this, rewatch it again, because he just dropped a lot of great nuggets for all of you guys to share. Share it with another trader. But if they have questions for you, where can they learn more about you?
AlphaTrends on Twitter is, the main thing where I put everything I do on there that's, in the public realm. And I've got a new book on the anchored VWAP coming out in January. So there's my plug.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks so much, Brian. I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching to the end of this video. I want to let you know that we want to help you reach your 2023 goals by giving away 10 bullet journals, one every single day until January 20th, Monday through Friday. All you have to do is comment below why you think you should win and click the link to enter. Thanks.